Hello everybody, my name's Snugglebot, and today we're going to be playing Destiny 2. It came out last Tuesday, so now you've all have gotten some time, if you wanted to play it, to get it underneath your belt so I don't ruin some of the story for you. If I do, I'm sorry, but you shouldn't be clicking on a video that you haven't watched yet. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and play my third character. I've already played through the story mode twice, once just through with some friends, and then twice just getting through it as quickly as possible. So I kind of know what's happening. That doesn't make the game any less difficult, so to speak, because it's still going to come at me in hordes of stuff. Now, if you don't know about Destiny, it's a online game, but it's an MMO FPS, so it's a massive online first-person shooter. So that means it's going to pick up elements like you've seen in a lot of those free-to-play games that are, or I guess pay-to-win games that are online. Now, one of the most redeeming qualities for this game is its combat. It's been praised for it, and I also agree. The combat is different than games that you've played before. Each gun handles differently, and I guess the bullets are kind of set up to make you feel like you're pretty cool, because the bullets kind of go towards the enemies with the aim assist. Now, it's not going to be like to where if they're not in my sight, I'm going to completely miss them, but there are some occasions to where you get a headshot where maybe you weren't technically on their head. Now, each weapon does have what damage and stuff, and I'm going to be able to level up and get different levels and do cool stuff like that eventually.
Me? I've got a date with whoever's behind this. It'll be a short date.
I'm sure it'll be a short date, Cade. Now, the interesting thing about this is that Destiny 1's already come and gone. We've had raids for it, we've had people play it, we've said our gripes about it in the business, and we've done everything. And there were two big gripes that came with it. One was, that I know of, I don't know past this, but one was the repetitiveness of it, which I say it's an MMO, guys. There's not much they can do about that. With it having the replayability that it needs, it's going to have repetitive things like the public events and the strikes and stuff, which strikes are essentially more in-depth missions. And the other thing was that the story was, one, ridiculous, and two, wasn't very captivating. Now, I can honestly say I played through the first one twice or three times on the Xbox 360 with my roommates, and I picked it up on the PS4 as well, and I played through that with at least 2 characters. So by doing that, I honestly don't remember. I couldn't tell you a single name of one of the actual people in the story, except for I don't even know the Cryptarch's name, but the Cryptarch was the guy who decoded the secret gems. And then Xur, because he brought us the nice legendary guns. And by legendary, I mean exotic. Exotic is actually the highest tier, not legendary like we're used to seeing. So I would agree. As far as the story, I couldn't tell you what exactly was happening with it. But in this game, they have a very definitive storyline. They have a very definitive stuff's happening. So you didn't see it because I already started this character beforehand, but there's a large cinematic at the beginning that shows you what's happening. And what's happening essentially is that the tower, basically the building where people were in the first game, the general hub, has been under attack and is pretty much being wrecked by the Cabal. But it's called the Red Faction of the Cabal, and it's apparently being led by a guy who just looks a lot like, I'm gonna say it, Bane from Batman. I didn't see that Batman movie, but that's what he looks like. I saw the commercial still. So I'm going to try and do a nice pace of giving you a general scope of the story with this playthrough, as well as trying to do it quickly. Now, when I get stuck in a gunfight, I'm not going to have you guys watch that whole thing. Unless there's something neat that happens, we might just fly past it. But for the most part, if we have to hunker down and just kind of chip and poke at the choke and stuff, I'll probably skip through it so you guys don't have to worry about it. So by no means do you want to get an understanding that how long it takes us to play through it, if we play all the way through it, is how long it actually takes to get through. The story mode itself is probably close to 12 to 15 hours, depending on how you play it. Now, I would say one of my favorite things about Destiny is its melee. Because not only can you just melee them normally, but it actually does go off of where you're looking. So if you do it right, you can actually melee them away. And by melee them away, I mean you can get crits for your melee, which is pretty neat. I like that. It's a pretty cool concept. Now, there are 3 classes in it. Right now what we're playing is the Hunter. they are known for being pretty much a little paper thin when it comes to the health and the resilience department, but what they make up for that with sheer mobility. Like, they are probably the quickest class that's out there. They might not be able to jump the highest and the furthest, but they do have the best jumps because they do get a triple jump by the time you level them all the way up. So the people that were talking to us are the Guardians, and right here you'll see right from the get-go we have people that we play with online. So there's basically two sections of the game. There's free roam public, and then there's the other section of the game where you kind of are out there doing a quest as a group. Now the parties are groups of 3s, except for the Crucible in this one they changed it from 6 to 4. And then lastly, the strikes, you have a multiple group. Now you can see up here on the left I got my objective. I got to defend the tower. So we're gonna go ahead and whip out our gun, and we're gonna shoot some suckers. Or I'm gonna miss. Yep. So one special, one kill, worth it, right? So the Hunter is, as far as his specialty, their specialty is generally geared around using side weapons and moving across the battlefield and making quick snap decisions. Early game, and when you're just doing regular quests and stuff running around, you can really play to your character's strength. Like his class, for this Guardian, the one other class that we can have, is Titan. And they're essentially exactly what you think. They're essentially tanks of the world. He's got a bubble shield, which doesn't exist anymore in the lore. They actually changed that out to a Captain American style fighting, which maybe one day we'll showcase a video of all the specials and stuff that's going on with it. But the Titan plays like a tank essentially. They are all about getting up close and beating things down, or picking away from a distance and just being super resilient. They boast the higher health pool and the better armor, and they just look like they're knights, which is neat. They did add a couple of weapon types to the game. There were melee weapons in the last game, but they added them as a power weapon in this game. Now also, if you're familiar with Destiny 1, your weapon structure is a little bit different. In Destiny 1, you had your primary weapon, your secondary weapon, and then a heavy weapon, right? Well, they got rid of that classification for everything. What they have now is you have one slot that's pure kinetic, which would be this rifle. And as you see, it doesn't do any elemental damage. It's just pure kinetic damage, which does the most damage to any fleshy thing. And then on top of that, instead of secondary weapons, you have elemental weapons now. So any elemental weapon is going to be in that slot, and that allows you to take down shields faster with the elemental weapons. On top of that, I don't have one right now because they haven't given me one, but instead of the heavy weapons, there's now a power weapon, which is pretty much exactly what it sounds like is the power weapon. And I make mention of that because they added a new weapon, the grenade launcher, and they also, now swords are a thing. Now, I think they were a thing before the end of the first Destiny, albeit I'm not a very good subject matter on the first Destiny, at least when it comes to the late game. I stopped playing after the Taken King. I did play a little bit when the Taken King came out, but I never actually bought that particular expansion because I was out of it by that point in time. I mean, I played it for a fair amount of time, so it was just time to go.
The speaker is gone. Red Legion, you will take no more from us, and you will find no mercy in
Ikora's gonna be... Oh yeah, she just jumped up and just attacked that ship, no bones about it. She is crazy.
Now head to the North Tower. I'm sending Amanda Holiday to pick you up.
These guys have a fire thing on the back, which if you shoot the fire thing enough, it blows up. Which is neat. I like that. I like that they have some explosion in it. I mean, personally, I get torn between weapons, right? Because at the end of the day, whatever weapon you use really just comes down to your play style. So the hand cannons and everything has returned. There is, I don't know if these were at the end of the old one, but these sidearms, which are essentially just pistols. You see how that just chewed through his shield? If we were shooting him with the assault rifle, it would have taken a lot longer.
Someone told me you need a ride.
I sure do. So there we go. This is going to be the story building for it, which is a lot better.
On that command ship now.
The graphics, by far and away, have gotten a lot better. Look at that. That's some very defined facial features there for Amanda Holiday. Some pretty neato explosions.
Come on, big guy.
Now, before you say anything, yes, the story is a little bit more hamstrung. Like, it's not going to be like a story that you're going to get like an Academy Award for. That's for darn sure. But it's definitely more engaging and more cohesive than what the previous story was back in Destiny 1. Also, if I'm not mistaken, they kind of took, once they came out with the Taken King and stuff, they kind of rearranged the story a whole lot. I know they completely did the voice for the ghost that you carried around. So that is an interesting play on their part. Now, the Destiny series is a 3-part series, so we now have the second part, which means there's going to be a third part coming out. But time will tell when that comes out and if it comes out. Now, it is kind of weird, the concept of having a MMO being multi-part, because now it's like, well, what about Destiny 1? I would imagine there might still be people playing it. I don't see why there wouldn't be. They probably enjoyed it enough. But it is kind of a strange concept to build your character. Now, it was neat because I played Destiny on my PS4 beforehand. My 2 characters that I got up to the max level, actually their character models got ported over. So my Titan and my Warlock that I play in my spare time, in my fun time, is are the exact same character models that I played last time. Which I thought that was a nice little nod. You know, they couldn't take over all my equipment and stuff because I guess, you know, they would have to reformat it for the game and stuff. But they allowed me to actually take my characters over. Which, you know what, in the grand scheme of things, that's probably the nicest thing that anyone could have expected from that. Okay. I got pushed off the edge. Now, see, in this, you respawn. And really, the only downside to the respawn is that you have to go back a few feet. It's not anything detrimental. Oh, he is the searing will. He is a little thicker than those other guys. That's okay, our gun will take him down. Oh, I should have used my special cannon. See, did not think about that. That's one thing to keep in mind as well, is that you build your special up pretty quickly, so it's not going to hurt you to use it whenever you're in a pinch or when you just feel like you're outnumbered and you want to thin out the crowd. Alright, now, like I said, I'm not a particularly good shot. I've never claimed to be a particularly good shot, so me using the golden gun for the hunter, not my best choice of equipment. But we'll go ahead and use it when there's a big guy so that it's harder to miss. A lot of the people will die with one melee, but if you do go up like bigger enemies like these guys, it does take a few more shots to take them down. But it's not impossible to do. Yeah, that did not do a whole lot of damage there. Run! The unbent blade. What did I just walk through? That got all dark and stuff. Oh nuts. Oh nuts. Take it out, Braun. Take it out. So you'll notice that there's damage on them, right? So that's pistol does 31 damage to that enemy type. Now if I back up, if I back up, it's now doing it less. So there is like damage range that's particular for weapons. Most noticeably, the sidearms and the hand cannons get a huge damage drop. Now the hand cannon is interesting because it's a revolver, so that's exactly what it is. And as it goes around, it loses a lot of its accuracy. So you're not going to be able to pop off headshots like you're supposed to be if you're using like a scout rifle, which is a one-shot, one-pull. It's a trigger weapon. The weapons are interesting because they come with a bunch of stats onto them. They got impact, range, stability, and each weapon is slightly different. Oh, that was a bad idea to go into that. Oh, we might die here. We might die here. I apparently found a good hidey hole. What is this? This is just... Okay, it's just back here in the corner. Cool. Neat. Awesome. Now, I will tell you this. When I came over from playing a lot of Overwatch, because that was the game I was playing in my spare time with my group of friends, group of players that I play with, it was hard to get used to the aiming. But after about like an evening of it, it wasn't so bad. It has a different feel to it than what Overwatch does.
All right. Destroy the
Okay, so we're just going to destroy these real quick.
Yes, just like that.
All right, one down.
Heat levels rising. It's working.
Oh, yay, our plan is working. So this is essentially what it's like to do a quest. They'll give you the objective to do, and then you have to go out and do it. Pretty straightforward. A lot of times it's destroy this, or defend this, or hack this, or clear the area. It's not... Sometimes you have to take an item and bring it to another spot, but it's nothing that's too challenging, so to speak. stopped their shield generator inside their giant ship, so we're overheating it, which is good for us. That means it's a good day. It's a good day. We've completed what we did. We're gonna run through the fire. Okay.
How do we come back from this?
You don't.
Oh, he's got jokes. He's got one-liners. Ah, there he is. Bane.
Without light.
Bane. Oh no, they covered the... Oh, they stole our light. Okay, so the light's very important because the Traveler gives us the light, which one, allows us to respawn, and two, it gives us our superpowers that we were using. And it also makes our robot guy move. Like, without the light, he's nothing. Now, in the first game, you start out as what I thought was a corpse. I'm not sure if that's exactly what it was, but the light comes up and says, hey, welcome. How do you feel now that you've been reborn? Maybe it was reborn, I don't know. But regardless, it is essentially what gives you all your power and your meaning to life, is your light.
Allow me to reacquaint you.
Yeah, and I think he was just explaining there the same thing I was saying, to where without their light, they can definitely be killed.
Deserve the power you were given.
And by his kind, he means not the exo that I am, but the...
No. And your light is mine.
No! And there we have it. Destiny 2. There's our pretty cinematic to end the first episode with. Oh, all those people falling down, and here's the Cabal coming across the ocean, throwing more stuff in. So these are the 3 new weapons that are being used: the Arc Blade, the Shield, and the Sword. So we're going to be, with being a hunter, we're going to get the Arc Blade. And I believe this bird is the Shard of Light that's going to be over here, and it's going to re-empower us, essentially. Yeah, you thought we were just going to be normal during the entire game. No, that's not how it's going to work at all. Nope, we're going to get powers back. Anyways, that does it for this episode of Destiny 2. A lot like Destiny 1, but I feel like they fixed a lot of the stuff that people complained about. The repetitiveness we'll actually see as we start doing some public events. They make fun of themselves. Like, there's one where these things are doing rituals, and they're like, oh, they're up to this ritual again. They're like, man, they must really like this spot. And then at the end of it, the character says, oh, good job taking them out. I have a feeling it won't be your last time doing this, though. So they're very self-aware of it, which is neat. And you can already tell from those first few minutes of playing the game that they really upped the ante on their story and their cinematics going along with it. To be honest with you, while the story did feel like it's 15 hours almost, 12 to 15 hours, I think is what people are saying. Playing through it, it doesn't feel like that. It goes very smooth, and it hardly felt like I was playing it at all, even when I was doing it with my second character, which is good for the game. That means that it's moving at a good pace, a mixture between telling the story, giving us pieces, and then actually going out and doing what you need to for the game. But if you like the video, go ahead and snuggle on up to that like button and give it a firm, yet sensual click. While you're down there, go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well. And I look forward to seeing all of you in the next video.